What's your name?
Django. The title says it all. Django Unchained. At first it seems simple. Django is freed from chains and that's the start. But Tarantino doesn't stop there. As the story moves forward, Django becomes the one doing the unchaining. He frees Broomhilda from the prison of Candyland. He turns the same tools of violence and fear against the men who use them. He even frees the horses. The title is about more than just Django's freedom. It is about breaking the whole system. The chains come off in every sense, literal, emotional, and symbolic, and by the end, when Django lights the fuse and walks away from the burning ruins of Candyland, we know that he is not just leaving a plantation, he is leaving behind the whole old world. But Django didn't start that way. He had to become the man who could do all that, and it took one hell of a journey to get there. Welcome to Movies with G, and today we're going to talk about how Django was unchained and how then Django unchained everyone in this bloody violent world that Tarantino has beautifully created for us. We're going to talk about Django's evolution, the German legend of Brunhild, Dr. King Schultz's mentorship, his morals, and how he saves Django into the person that he becomes by the end of this film. When we first meet Django, he barely speaks. He does not understand half the words Dr. King Schultz says. He does not know the taste of beer. He has no idea what style looks like. But as he travels with Dr. King, something starts to change. He doesn't just free him, he teaches him reading, talking, writing, dressing, even shooting. Slowly, Django learns to carry himself with confidence. And it's not just surface level. He becomes patient. He learns to wait for the right moment. By the end, he's not the same man. He talks like Dr. King. He outsmarts people like Dr. King. He fools Tarantino's Australian mining crew with words, not bullets. Well, later he blows them all up anyway. And when it's time for bullets, he is the fastest hand in the South.
You know what they're going to call you? The fastest gun in the South.
Django's freedom didn't just come from breaking his chains. It came from becoming someone who could walk into a room full of enemies and make them believe that he belongs there. That transformation is what makes him dangerous, and it's what makes him ready for what's coming next. Early in the film, Dr. King tells Django's story about a German legend, Brunhild, a princess trapped in a mountain, guarded by a dragon, surrounded by a circle of hellfire. Only her true lover, Siegfried, can save her. It sounds like a bedtime tale, but it's not. Tarantino is laying out the whole movie in one small story. Brunhild is Broomhilda. Candyland is the mountain. Calvin Candy and everyone there is the dragon. And slavery, the system that holds her there, is the fire. And therefore, Django becomes Siegfried. He fights his way through hell to get to her. He and his partner kills the dragon, and he doesn't just escape, he burns the whole mountain down behind him. This isn't just a rescue mission, it's a myth brought to life. Dr. King tells Django the story, and Django becomes the legend.
What's your name?
Django.
Then you're exactly the one I'm looking for.
Dr. King Souls is not a hero in the traditional sense. He's a bounty hunter, a man who kills for a living, and he's very good at it. But there is a line he refuses to cross. Even in a world soaked in cruelty, that line becomes clearer the deeper he is pulled into the south. At first, he seems like he can detach himself from all the horrors around him. He plays along with the slave trade to free Django, talks circles around everyone, and keeps his hand clean whenever possible. But the longer he stays in Candyland, the harder it becomes to pretend that clever words and polite business can cover up the filth. What finally breaks him is the memory of what he witnessed, a runaway slave torn apart by dogs, while Calvin Candy smiled and watched. Sills can't forget it. He tries to go through the motions, sign the papers, close the deal, and walk away, but then Candy demands a handshake, and then the memory comes roaring back. Dr. King Schultz realizes that to walk away would mean accepting everything that Calvin Candy stands for, and he can't do it. Not for money, not for safety, not even for Django and Broomhilda. So he says,
I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
it's not just a moment of defiance, it's a final act of teaching. Dr. King Schultz doesn't survive it, and he knows that he probably wouldn't. But by refusing to shake that hand, he shows Django something more important than how to shoot, or ride, or talk smooth. He shows him what it means to choose principle over survival. Dr. King Schultz dies for that choice, but it leaves a mark on Django. It becomes the final piece of his evolution. In that moment, Schultz becomes more than just a partner. He becomes the mentor who passes on the torch even in death. I guess he trusts Django enough that he knows he will get out of it even without him now. After the death of Dr. King, the film shifts. The quiet confidence Django has been building suddenly becomes something else, calculated, sharp, and unstoppable. Schultz may be gone, but his influence does not vanish. It lives on in Django's choices. From the way he tricks the mining crew to how he calmly rides back into Candyland, every move he makes is a reflection of what his mentor taught him. But what's more important is how Django doesn't just copy him, he surpasses him. Where Dr. King couldn't survive the system without breaking, Django learns to beat it at its own game. He understands when to wait, when to act, and when to burn every fucking thing to the ground. That kiss Django gives to his mentor's dead body says everything. It is not just grief, it's respect. A final thank you, because Schultz doesn't just free him, he believed in him. He taught Django how to think, how to act with intention, and most of all, how to carry his own sense of right and wrong. In the end, Django isn't just unchained from slavery, he is unchained from fear, from silence, from the limits placed on him by the others. He becomes the legend, Siegfried, that Dr. King once told him about. The man who walks through fire, kills the dragon, and rides away with the woman he loves. Django knows that he and his wife are going to now be hunted for the rest of their lives, but he also knows that he is now strong and smart enough to protect himself and her against any fire that comes in front of them. Django Unchained isn't just a revenge story. It's about becoming something bigger than your past. It's about the power of change, of wisdom through apprenticeship, of belief. And in that final moment, riding off into both a literal and metaphorical darkness with Broomhilda, the fire still burning behind them, Django isn't just free, he is whole. Django Unchained is loud, violent, and full of style, but underneath all that, it's a story about growth, belief, and liberation. It is about a man who starts in chains, learns who he is, and becomes strong enough to burn the world that once held him down. Through Dr. King's guidance, a mythical love story, and a brutal journey, Django becomes more than a freed slave. He becomes a symbol of defiance, of power, of freedom on his own terms. And with that, I will see you in the next video, so make sure to hit the like button if this resonated with you. Tell me what you feel about Django Unchained in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.
I think this just might be my masterpiece.